When you lose focus during a game, is your focus lost or is it simply misplaced? When you lose focus, it's because your mind is focused on something else, whether it's the outcome, the score, what others are thinking, or even that obnoxious fan that's yelling in the stands. You are being distracted by focusing and thinking about something else. Hey there, I'm Eli Straw. I'm a performance coach and the founder of SuccessStartsWithin.com. In this fourth video in the series on improving focus, you're gonna learn a strategy that you can use to refocus during games. Now, if you haven't watched the first 3 videos in the series, I've linked those in the description below. Digging deeper into why you lose focus during games, we realize it's your thoughts that you have in relation to the distractions that you're facing that are really impacting your focus. Now, this makes sense with outcome-oriented thoughts, such as how you're gonna come back from behind or what your stats are gonna look like at the end of the game or at the end of the season. But what about external distractions? Well, when your focus is distracted by something external, it is still the thoughts that you're having about the distraction, which are shifting your attention onto that external distraction. So to refocus yourself, you need to figure out a way to stop those distracting thoughts from happening. That's where this strategy is gonna come into play, where we're gonna work on interrupting your thoughts. When you try to force a thought out of your mind, you realize how difficult this is. The more you try not to think about it, the more you are thinking about that thought. Instead, the way to stop these distracting thoughts from really working against your focus and working against your performance during games is by interrupting them with different thoughts, or in other words, substituting one thought for another. And so to do this, you want to create a statement that you're going to repeat to yourself whenever you notice that you've lost focus. This is going to be a simple phrase that you repeat whenever you find yourself becoming distracted. The statement doesn't need to be complex, and in fact, the simpler it is, the better. All you're wanting to do is interrupt the distracting thoughts and remind yourself that you need to refocus in the present moment. Here are a few sample statements you can use to help you with creating your own. One is going to be stop, breathe, focus on the present moment. Another is be here, I am focused on what I can control. Another is focus and be present. Another one is I am a focused player. I am present and ready to perform. Like I said, the statement you create for yourself should not be complicated. Your goal is to simply interrupt the distracting thoughts with a phrase that you repeat to yourself over and over that reminds you to refocus in the present moment. By using this statement when you do find yourself distracted, you're working to regain control and power over your focus during a game. Now, one thing that I do want to mention is that to use this statement during a game, you have to, number one, remember the statement, but you also have to be aware that you're losing focus. So something that can help is to take a few weeks to really practice recognizing when you lose focus, even during practice, but especially during games. And a great exercise to help with this is to just keep a journal of times where you become distracted. And so after practice or after a game, you might want to write down when you became distracted that day. And the more that you're able to be aware in the moment that you become distracted, the easier it's going to be to repeat this phrase to yourself. And then another thing you can do is also reread that phrase to yourself every single day, because you want to practice it so it gets ingrained in your memory. What you can do is reread the statement to yourself every day and think, if I'm distracted, this is what I'm going to repeat to myself, and then repeat the phrase to yourself. What this is doing is it's ingraining that phrase into your memory. Now, that's a strategy that you can use to refocus if you find yourself distracted during a game. But there also are ways that you can train your ability to focus over the long term to make it more difficult for distractions to mess with you during games. So go ahead and click right here to watch the 5th video in this focus series, where I go into detail on some sports psychology techniques that you can use to train your focus over the long term.